Good evening. Happy New Year, everybody. First meeting of the Transportation Committee for 2026. Um, Thank you all for coming. We're going to do a quick roll call. I know Seamus Perry said he would be late tonight, so we'll just put him down as late. But we have David Cheney. I see you're present. Ted,
Here.
present. Jim Hale, present.
Present.
Jeff Bartell, present. Trish Bartell,
Present.
present. And that's what we have so far for today. Um, I do have a couple of announcements that I wanted to share with you. Oh, here comes Lynette. Lynette, present. Okay. Hold on. Here it is. So there's some new California rules. Oh, and here's Jeff. Good. All right. Just let these people in real quick. Let them get in. So I just quickly wanted to mention there are a couple of new laws that were passed for 2026. Assembly Bill 544 requiring equipment on electric bikes. And this bill mandates that electric bikes must have a red reflector or a solid or flashing red light with a built-in reflector on the rear during all hours of operation, not just during darkness. And that's what the previous law required, was just during darkness. So it also allows CHP to develop online electric bicycle safety and training program to fulfill the safety course requirement for minors. I think this is a really important bill. I wanted to bring it up because we see so many minors on these electric bikes, sometimes two on a bike. And because we don't have street lights, and if they ride at night, you literally cannot see these kids or anybody for that matter, whether they're on a bike or walking. So I've been thinking about trying to do a campaign of raising awareness about people wearing light colored clothing when they're out at night, walking in the street or riding a bike. Because so many times, even at dusk, it's very hard to see people when you're driving and they're on the side of the road and they're all dressed in black or dark clothes. So I'm just throwing that out there as something that, we might want to see if we can come up with a campaign, an awareness campaign that we could put out on social media about encouraging people to wear reflective clothes or lighter clothes. Um, there's another bill, Bill 586. It defines an off-highway electric motorcycle or an e-moto as one that's designed for off-highway use. It's powered by an electric motor, has handlebars, and it's not equipped with manufacturer pedals. So I don't know if we have a lot of those, but those are two bills that got passed regarding electric bikes and motorcycles. And then here's one, AB 382, Pedestrian Safety School Zones. Assembly Bill 382 allows local authorities to lower the school zone speed limit from 25 to 20 per hour by ordinance or resolution through January of 2031. After 2031, the speed limit's automatically going to go to 20 miles per hour, but something for us to think about to request perhaps that making that change to a lower speed limit in front of our school. We have Monarch and Baywood to think about. So those are my announcements. Do I have any announcements from committee members? Anything you want to bring up?
I would
No.
Okay. Jim, you raise your hand?
just given what you just mentioned, there was an article several months ago about the high rate of severe accidents that occur on electric bikes. That might be something that we should send out. I think I saved it, but it talked about how class two um, electric bikes can go up to 35 miles an hour. And some of the accidents that particularly minors, teenagers, especially this article focused on a senior in high school that was killed um, on an e-bike, no alcohol involved or anything like that. And just the type of accidents that they see in emergency rooms are more consistent with motorcycle injuries on e-bikes than bicycles. And I think if you're interested in doing campaigns besides wear light at night, just kind of educating, having schools maybe consider an e-bike safety course or safety education because to your point, we see a lot of really middle schoolers and maybe, late elementary schoolers riding these e-bikes everywhere.
Yeah. And they're pretty zippy.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Ted, your hands up?
Yes. And I second all of those motions or whatever they are about the e-bikes because those e-motos, I've seen kids uh, around town here that are maybe in sixth grade and they shouldn't be riding on the streets with the modified e-bikes that are e-motos that they're using. I mean, and 35 miles an hour is not the upper limit for these things because they have motors that'll go faster than that. But I have one other item to ask about, and that has to do with the uh, if you're going eastbound on Los Osos Valley Road at night and the light goes red and you're trying to make a left turn there is no indication whatsoever that the traffic coming westbound on the same road uh, isn't stopping in the same sequence you are.
Hmm. What's at what intersection are we talking?
Ninth,
Oh, on Ninth Street.
yes. So if you're making a left on Ninth and you're
Uh-huh.
sitting out there waiting for the light to turn red or whatever because the traffic's just streaming through, it'll continue streaming through after it goes red for you.
Well, that's
Mm.
also, Ted, on that, if you're turning, if you are heading eastbound, turning northbound on Ninth Street, late in the signal for eastbound, we get an arrow to turn north.
Um,
Oh no, I'm
That's
thinking
10th
10th Street.
Street.
that's
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 10th.
10th.
10th Street.
That's
Yeah,
right.
ninth,
Excuse me. You're right.
ninth. You're
That's
just
10th.
you're just sort of like
That's
and
true.
I think there are enough people who are tourists or unfamiliar or whatever, and that's just an accident waiting to happen. And the county apparently says, "Nah, it's fine." So
So
I would guess that they haven't gone out and looked at it.
what I've noticed is people run that light, that red light.
Yeah,
And I think it's because the 10th and ninth are so close together
yeah,
and they get through 10th and they're like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and go
right.
through uh through ninth thinking that, well, it's not going to be a problem because traffic, but you're right. If you're turning left there,
Yeah,
that that's a serious issue.
and in a former life when I was involved in a planning commission a lot, um, I noticed things like that. And intersections like those two, they're not unique. I mean, every freeway uh, that has stoplights on either side of the freeway crossing has that same situation. And the best way I've seen it handled is, yes, the lights go green. Now they're going red, both at the same time, all the same way. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you just sort of give it up. It may back traffic up sometimes, but oh well.
All right, so who would we talk to about that? Public Works? Just
I
ask
I,
them
I
about the timing.
I think it's Public Works, the traffic division, but yeah,
All right. I'll see what I can find out about that.
because it's there is there's no indication that it's like that light is different than what you would expect any other stoplight to be like.
Mhm.
None. So
People are very aggressive at that intersection. I've noticed more than once people that are going to turn left on Ninth Street, and everybody's kind of stopped waiting for the green. And then normally, before you can turn left, you have to wait for traffic to go by. And they just like quickly turn. And the one time I saw it, there were pedestrians in the
yeah,
roadway.
it's totally unsafe. So I thought, this thing was on next door um, sometime in December, and I go, yeah, and we just drove through it the other night, and I'm just going like, yeah, it's really dicey.
We'll see what we can do. All
So
right.
that was all I had.
Okay. Very good. And thank you for your comment on the e-bikes. Yeah, it's problematic in two ways I see because sometimes those bikes being on the sidewalks are dangerous for pedestrians, and yet they're really not, appropriate to be in the street. So where do they go? Like
Uh,
water, they flow wherever it's the easiest.
right. So yeah, and the e-motos are just those things are they're motorcycles. They need to have a license, period, if you want to drive them on the street.
Well, it doesn't feel like I mean, there's some obviously regulation coming up for these things, but it feels like there needs to be more clarity around these new modes of transportation. The little scooters and all those things that are motorized. Um, but okay, good conversation. Thank you for that. Do we have any public comments for items not on the agenda? Okay, don't see any of that. So we're going to welcome John DiNunzio to our meeting tonight. Thank you so much, John, for taking the time tonight and giving us an update on what's happening at SlowCog. So, do you want me to make you a co-chair, co-host? How about that?
Yeah,
Would you like that?
yeah, that would be great. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great. I didn't prepare a slide deck or anything. But I'm happy to talk to you about our upcoming agenda. So our February agenda, and kind of what we're doing at the regional level with transportation. There's quite a lot going on, and a lot of decisions that are coming up that um, that will impact the region and the community of Los Osos. And then I also have, maybe I could report out on kind of two kind of staff reports that I've been working on. One is a project on South Bay Boulevard, the Morro Bay Climate Resiliency Plan that we've been working on with Caltrans and the Morro Bay Estuary Program. We have public workshops here on, and then the other kind of ties into what you were just talking about with traffic safety, and we had gotten an Office of Traffic Safety grant, which I'll explain about this possibility for doing pop-up demonstrations. But sort of backing up, probably the the biggest policy thing that we have going on, the full LOCAC will be hearing about on Thursday, and maybe you've heard about it before, but it's called the Local Roads First initiative, and it is a potential ballot measure that is specific for transportation. It is a sales tax. It's half of 1%, so it's like 0.5%. That would happen countywide. So all the cities would add it, and then the county unincorporated areas would add it too. Maybe you've had talks on this already in primers, but I just wanted to say that been attending a lot of these meetings, so I'm not the staff who's leading the charge, but as a representative of SlowCog, and one thing we don't we can't advocate for it for because it's a tax, but we're getting close to what the expenditure plan is going to look like and what the um, regional share of the potential revenue would be. So it's predicted to generate about 35 million a year for specifically for transportation for our region, but then it would get divided um, in any a number of ways. I know Deborah is one of the steering committee members of this, and so you've likely heard a little bit about it before. But I just wanted to share out that my perspective on it is that it's really gaining momentum. And the kinds of conversations that I've been hearing taking place with city managers, for example, the city of Atascadero just last week, is they're really getting into kind of the nitty-gritty of what this expenditure plan would look like, and they're taking it a lot more seriously because the chances of it getting on the ballot are increasing, in my opinion. And so on Thursday, you'll hear more about that at the full LOCAC. And then, so you see the full presentation, but I just wanted to give this group a primer because it is related to directly related to transportation and circulation. And this community of Los Osos would yield a certain amount each year. Um, and then the other thing I wanted to mention too is we are bringing on at our board meeting something called the Regional Transportation Improvement Program. We do it every 2 years, and so our agency helps Caltrans, the county, and the cities fund big interchange projects and highway projects, but also mid-sized and smaller ones too. So we were kind of a quiet partner at the beginning on the bridge that's being replaced. They broke ground on that, and I'm sure the county's updated you guys on that, or you'll hear more about that as it progresses for the next two. We'll just see it, right? Next 2 years, we'll just see it every day. And hopefully the disruption won't be too bad getting back and forth. Um, but there's a number of big projects in the pipeline. Probably the biggest one that you're going to see is the southbound 101 congestion relief project. So the Avila roundabout is open for business. But if you continue southbound, there's going to be a managed lane added southbound. So that's from Avila Beach Drive down and through Pismo. There's going to be a third lane, auxiliary lane added. Maybe you've heard about that. That went out to bid, and the bids came in right at the engineering specs, but it's quite an expensive project. It's about $67 million, and it will be for a part-time travel lane. So the way that we got this through was kind of like when you're going up to Tahoe, how the lanes will have or across the Bay Bridge, they'll have like the green circles. So the lanes will have green circles, but then there's a red X over in the third lane. And so in order to make this type of lane work, for a number of different reasons that Caltrans knows about, is that lane isn't going to be the third lane, which will be up against the median southbound. So you go around the corner where everybody looks and stops and sees the ocean. You keep going, and that lane will be open during peak times, but it won't be open all the time. So the idea is that Caltrans District 5 staff are going to learn how to balance that and what works for kind of our community. But that's going out to bid. Or no, that is out to bid. It's going to break ground. So they'll be out there with the shovels and stuff like that. And I think it's 2 year construction on that as well. So we'll see if the bridge, which beats who. Um, and then yeah, and then let me just mention the Office of Traffic Safety mini grants real quick, and then I'll end on the Morro Bay Estuary Climate Plan because maybe I'll show a couple of slides of that. So this program is as part of our bicycle and pedestrian safety program. Again, we got a grant with Office of Traffic Safety. It's to do pop-up demonstrations. So these are small, fast, temporary pilots that let communities try solutions before making permanent investments. We're making $36,000 available that we believe will fund between 4 and 6 uh, pop-up demos around the county. So a maximum 6,000 per project. And it also includes like outreach support and printing and things like that. But really the idea is to use right back in the 70s and 80s, they just put tires out and and stuff like that. But or hay bales or something like that. But now we're trying to use more like traffic cones and construction tape and the high vis stuff and just sort of stake out where for example, like where along Los Osos Valley Road, I know you were talking about that earlier. Some of the projects that emerged from the corridor plan might be a good opportunity to sort of stake those out. Um, and again, it's a pop-up, so it'd probably be only up for 3 days, right? Like a long weekend or something, or maybe midweek if it involves a school. So schools can apply, the county public works can apply, CSDs can apply, etc. So if you have anything in mind, you would need to nudge your friendly neighborhood school, CSD, or public works in order to apply to us. Um, and Yeah, and so applications are going to be due St. Patty's Day. So like around March 17th. I'm going to host an informational webinar in about a month from now on February 12th. So I'll be rolling this out to in our newsletter and stuff like that. And it's all part of the Regional Road Safety Committee, who will then be scoring the various applications. Um, so this program gives our local partners fast, low barrier ways to create visible safety improvements, to test concepts with real users. It's one of the strongest on-ramps to bigger grant funding and permanent investment. So, with a lot of these other grant programs like the Active Transportation Program, et cetera, if you don't have community involvement, and I know the LO Corridor Plan had a lot of community involvement, so that's good, but you can never have enough. And if you can get, photos of kids from the school or walking along LOVR from Palisades to Doris or something like that, or up at Rodman trying to get across there with a horse and it's got all this stuff out and you get some photos of that or fly a drone over. All of that stuff gets packaged nice and neat, and when it goes up to Sacramento to compete statewide for state money, stuff like that really helps, as you know. um, Okay, so
So I have a
yep,
question about
yep.
that, John.
Mhm.
So you do the pop-up, and then how do you get feedback?
Yeah, so we're going to task either a consulting firm or we ourselves are going to do it or an intern. There'll be just like a QR code with a phone. Like there'll be like a little sign. So as you approach it, if you're out walking your dog or if you're biking up to MDO or if you're driving to pick up, landscaping stuff at that landscaping place, like Bougainvilleas or something, then you would stop, you would see it, and then you'd be able to kind of engage with it. And it, depending on how it's structured, it may or may not include a table or a booth at like the farmer's market the prior week or the 2 weeks leading up. There'd be a booth there 2 weeks before, let everybody in the community know it's happening, or make a presentation at LOCAC. To let to kind of raise awareness of it, and then hopefully like get distributed once. And so we're kind of envisaging May for that activity to happen. So May's Bike Month. It doesn't have to be May. You have really until the end of September to do something like that when the Office of Traffic Safety grant expires. So it could be over the summer too, if that is better fit for purpose. But I know that active transportation grants are due in June. So if you guys are going for one with the county on that particular program, there is a little bit of a time crunch for that one program. And then there's always next year too.
Got it.
Okay.
Great. All right, we'll put our heads together on that one. That sounds like a great opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, and I guess the last thing I wanted to raise is the Morro Bay Estuary Climate Resiliency Plan. And let me just try to share my screen here. Um, that's that. So this is a little look at our staff report. So if you're not, oh sorry, I've gone off. I apologize. I just messed everything up. I was trying to be all clever and I'm not. Let me go back. Yeah. So the Morro Bay Estuary Climate Resiliency Plan, we're now about to release the draft. So you might remember that we had kind of a few public workshop, two public workshops. We were at the science exploration. We did a more in Morro Bay Farmers Market. We did provide an update to LOCAC, it looks like last May, etc. And details of it can be found on the South Bay Boulevard climate plan. Um, you might be familiar if you came to the event with some of the concepts and the input. I'm guessing Traffic and Circulation Committee people probably came. Um, would you mind just showing me just like a little hand? Just raise your hand if you were able to make it to the workshop. It was at the end of Santa Isabel, the Church of the
Mhm.
Nazarene, right? Yeah, Church of the Nazarene.
I was there.
Um, yep. Okay, good. Um, so yeah, so we had two of them. And that was, you know what I might try to do is I wonder if I can play a video. Are you able, this is just 1 minute. Are you able to see the screen with the estuary?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try to play it. I don't know if sound is gonna work or
Can you
not.
make it bigger?
It's super big on my screen right now.
Oh
Let me
yeah,
let
it's
me
not big on our screen.
okay, let me try
It's
again
page,
another
it's like
way.
a little page.
Right. What about now?
Yes. Got it.
Okay. So I don't know how sound is going to work. If you get sound, if you could do a thumbs up, that would be great. Otherwise, without sound, what I'll do is I'll just send you the link and you can watch it at your leisure. If it okay.
Okay.
Okay, let's try it.
No, but you've
Sound?
got closed captioning on it.
Oh,
So we can see what's being said.
yeah. I'm sorry. I'll just send you the link. Hang on. Um, share computer sound. Let me try this again. Classic.
Morro Bay is a unique coastal area.
Yep.
Land and water come together. Roads wind through wetlands, neighborhoods, and shorelines, linking people and nature. Bikes are a key part of this connection, offering clean, healthy ways to move and explore. But with our coastal location comes new challenges: rising seas, stronger storms, and more frequent flooding. These changes are already affecting how we move, live, and connect. In January 2023, an atmospheric river closed the routes to Los Osos, including South Bay Boulevard, a vital connection already vulnerable to extreme flooding. As sea levels rise and storms intensify, these disruptions will only grow. Today we'll explore the risks and, more importantly, the steps we can take together to build a safer, more resilient future. Let's take a closer look.
Cool.
So that's sort of the teaser and um I mean, the idea is to just introduce the concept of what really kind of brought the plan together was the bridge was coming, the storms came, and there was an opportunity with Caltrans to go after climate resiliency planning money in order to look at the road in greater detail. And so to to that end, we were able to come up with sort of a map. I don't know if you're able to see that.
I see the
Um,
map.
okay, and
Hmm.
I don't know how clear it is, but the idea with this map is to show all the stakeholders the sections of the roadway that are vulnerable. Oh, is that sound? Is
Yeah,
that coming through to you
it's coming
guys?
through.
It's
That's the atmospheric
oh
river, I
my
bet.
gosh. Um, Let me just not do that. I have no idea what that is. So sorry, guys. See, once you go to YouTube, it just takes over. Um, I wouldn't make a very good disc jockey.
So where are we at in terms of the draft and the process for getting that sort of, you know,
Yeah.
established in terms of what they're going to do? Because there were, as I recall, three options that we were asked to provide feedback on.
Yeah. So again, here are the assets on the road, and the impact of sea level rise. Kind of emerging from the plan are these two concepts. You might be familiar with maybe 20 years ago or 15 years ago, and I'm pointing to the green around uh, the state park here. Probably can't really see that, but
Yeah, where the golf
um,
course is.
the golf courses, and that's for a one-way couplet. And then the idea is that if you're heading to Morro Bay, you make the left into the park, and then you would head up and over Upper Park Road or Parkview Drive, whatever, and it would be one direction of travel. And so the direction of travel would be a counterclockwise movement. So you'd no longer be able to make the left um, and just go the lower Park Road. And the idea being there is that if the lower Park Road is one way, then from the marina or even from the Inn at Morro Bay, the marina to the junction of the two roads, you'd be able to turn that, you'd be able to take a travel lane over and have that be like a promenade, kind of like we saw during COVID for those when the road was closed off. That lower Park Road, everybody kind of took their dogs and skateboards and all their one wheels and all the e-bikes and stuff that you were talking about earlier. And we think with that state parks might be open to this. We know that they've done e- some exploration of this, and so we're trying to um, help use this plan and use that possibility in order to at least get the California Coastal Trail continuing uh, from really kind of the marina, more or less where it sort of stops, or kind of the Inn at Morro Bay, that section, and just get it to kind of go around the one section Lower State Park Road, and to the Choro Creek Bridge. So then the other concept to come out of it too is for a shared use pathway on South Bay Boulevard, um, on the west side, the west side of the road. And so we know that that this is currently problematic, um, but um, but we feel that with this plan in place that we might be able to work with City of Morro Bay and SLO County and the California State Coastal Commission in order to um, look at where the road is the narrowest and see about expanding it to the east. And then we know there's a rock, and where the S curves, it's really narrow. And to see if, at least conceptually, if the Choro Creek Bridge, if the left-hand turn travel lane or the left-hand turn lane um, could be taken out. And then the lane that is currently the southbound lane, that could be turned into a shared or part of it turned into a shared youth path, so that rather than building another structure or going under, it would the two-way travel for non-motorized, would be on the bridge deck. So that's a concept that needs further flushing out as well. Um, yeah, so those are some of the short term concepts that that have come out of the plan. Oh, look at that. Here's my drawings. I have no idea how to make that go away. Um, but you really some of the bigger concepts to come out of the plan are the road. If things continue to trend as they are with extreme climate, extreme weather, and you'll know that the more closures that the road experiences and the frequency of that. Um, with storm surges, etc. And if level rise continues to trend upward, um, then really by about 2040, we're going to have to make a go or no go decision on putting the road on a levee or sections of it on a causeway. And so a lot of the engineering time and conceptual level time was focused on different cross sections for the levee or for a causeway. And again, that's kind of what the purpose of this plan is to set sort of a vision for South Bay Boulevard in the big picture, so that we can use these different adaptation pathways to help us figure out what we can do in the short, medium, and long term with the road. And and then how that impacts the ecosystems and et cetera, with partners and things. So that is I can send you the link to the draft. The draft is going to be out to the public from February 4th. I'm happy to show it to you sooner. It'll be open for public comment for 60 days. So until March 17th, maybe? No. So February 4th, April 9th is when the comments are due back on that. And then we're going to look to finalize it in June.
Okay. We actually have a couple questions. Jeff Krebs had a question on, I think, what you were talking about before, so I'll let him go first. Jeff, are you unmuted?
I am on this side. You hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. So I was trying to understand your transportation demonstration project, and then you mentioned that the applications for active transportation were due by June. As we learned betterments, I guess, got no funding. So I'm really trying to understand the process here. Obviously, sorry, I got something in my throat. We're trying to get this Palisades to Doris thing going. What's our process to, are we able to do anything to get into somebody to active transportation to see about getting that funded?
Yeah, so for those maybe not familiar with some of the grant programs that the region, so us SLOCOG, and then the state and the federal programs for active transportation. Some of the more common ones, the ones that are right the easiest and the lowest to maintain. So like the less reporting are probably a slow cog community betterments grant. And we offer them every 2 years. They're usually under $1 million for a project. And this year, because of the need on projects like the Bob Jones Trail cost overrun, or Shell Beach Road, phase 1 and phase 2, which is in conjunction with the southbound travel lane I mentioned earlier. So, right, so in order for the southbound travel lane I mentioned earlier, we also need to develop Shell Beach Road streetscape concepts as part of the mitigation for that. Um, and then any number of other like Union Road or Prado Overcrossing or the northbound off-ramp US 101 in Paso Robles, like heading back out to Bakersfield or Fresno, that off-ramp needs to be done. And all of those projects that are already in the pipeline have cost increases, not to mention inflation, et cetera. The longer it waits, the more it costs. So the discretionary money that we had available for community betterments for smaller, sorry, what we call smaller projects, not saying that Doris and from Palisades isn't a big size or is important. That's not saying that at all, but the community programs was kind of taken out of the equation this cycle. So we're not offering that. However, the state of California does offer an active transportation program. It's highly competitive, and it would be contingent on Public Works staff having to write an application for on behalf of your community. And that is kind of why they did the corridor plans. So they did Vineyard, Vineyard Drive in Templeton, Pure Avenue down in Oceano, and this Los Osos Valley Road one. I think they're starting up Buckley and Slow. But what that planning work down does is it then would help with your eligibility for the state grants because you have determined the best locations for this stuff. Um, Vineyard Drive was able to get money, federal money through the Highway Safety Improvement Program, the HSIP program. So that's another pathway. And yeah,
Well,
I
we
mean,
just need to go back to Public Works. I guess that's the message is maybe they already are doing this for one of those projects. I just wasn't aware, and maybe they aren't.
yeah, I mean, I think the way that they would do it one of two ways. You either go after a grant and try to get everything, the whole bundle. So something like to improve the signal phasing that you were talking about at Ninth Street and improve 10th Street and everything else and all the way down, and you get a big bundle of money and try to do all of it, or you look for places of independent utility and then you do it kind of one section at a time. Um, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
that helps me. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right. We have a couple of other questions for you, John. David, do you want to go ahead and ask your question? And then Jim,
Yeah,
you'll be
sure.
next.
On the local roads initiative, you mentioned that it was expected to bring in about $35 million per year. Do you have an estimate? I know one of the main purpose of this was to be able to leverage state and federal money better. Do you have an estimate of how much leveraging you'd be likely to get? Because it seems like the larger number and the amount of extra money you're able to attract from the state is the better sales pitch. for the initiative.
Yeah, no, that's great. And there is a slide that'll be shared with LOCAC on Thursday that has a breakdown of the estimates of the leverage. We look to our partners up in we're down in Santa Barbara and then up in Santa Cruz who have similar measures. We do not, to see how they've been able to leverage funding. Uh, you know a fair, reasonable thing with grants is, a 4-to-1 ratio. So I could take 20%. We can take 20% in, and we could probably seek, 80% elsewhere from a grant is kind of what we look for. And then, depending on the size, the size of the project. Yeah, the thing with the local road first initiative is there's going to be money heading 55% is going out to the cities and the county. And we were talking with Deborah just yesterday or whatever. The county is going to be equally divided by a supervisorial districts. So each supervisorial district is going to get a proportional fair share of that 55% carve out. And then there's a 40% other carve out, which is for the regional areas. And maybe you've heard this before, but that includes the North Coast, North County, South County, and etc. But those are going to be operating in a similar way that our tip that I mentioned earlier is going to be run. So they'll be regionally competitive within that district. You probably have to save up, a couple of years, bank a couple of years, and then go after something big. The Choro Valley Trail is a active transportation project that's coming down the pipeline. So we're just starting a project initiation of that from Cal Poly to Cuesta College on the north side of the road, and how we span the bridge across Camp San Roberts is still up in the air, but those are some interesting projects that people might be interested in. But then there's also a ton of operational improvements on Highway 101, like up through Atascadero. I know in Los Osos, you don't commute so much from North County into SLO. But if you're going up and down at different times and you get caught in that, people are getting stuck the same way that people would get stuck going southbound Pismo, or if you reverse commute, if you live in Santa Maria and you're trying to get to SLO, you get caught in it and get caught in the 101. So things have really changed out there. SLO County is not like it used to be kind of the best place to commute in the whole nation, right? Just living slow, and it just isn't that anymore. I know it's not as bad as Monterey or Half Moon Bay or Santa Barbara or Oxnard or whatever, but it's getting there. So the Local Roads First initiative is meant to help with that, but also the big thing from it and the big thing that it's selling is road maintenance. It's not sexy stuff. Road maintenance and bridges, and a lot of the cities like Atascadero have a really low pavement condition index, and having extra money to do that. In fact, City of Paso has a measure in its city that just pays for road maintenance. So this measure would be on top of their maintenance because their roads are that bad, and they've got a lot. And they also have like heavier trucks that move in and out of wineries and stuff like that. So anyway, you pulled the string and you got me going.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
That's all right. Okay, Jim, you were next, and then Trish.
John, this goes back to the Local Roads First initiative. You said chances of getting on ballot are increasing. Can you tell us a little more about what you meant by that and what that means increasing, please?
Oh, I meant my personal feeling.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I've been attending a few of the workshops with some of the different cities, and I've been watching the other staff that are leading this, and kind of, I was involved in the 2016 time that we did. It was Measure J back in 2016. that time. Um, what I'm probably specifically referring to is the exchange that I'm seeing to get the expenditure plan, which is on our February agenda. If you go to the LOCAC's website, look up our February 4th, you'll see the staff reports I was just mentioning, but at the very end of it is a local roads first staff report. And then including with that is the SLO County expenditure. That's not going to work. SLO County expenditure plan, right? And within it, the input that I've seen from the city managers has kind of reached a level of detail and kind of optimism where you know how like they're really put their foot down on the gas to make sure that the expenditure plan has their city's best interests at heart. And I saw it in a way that wasn't happening like last summer or last spring. Like they're like the all I mean is like people are really paying attention to this kind of behind the scenes to make the expenditure plan as I guess acceptable and balanced, fair and transparent. Again, these are my kind of personal takes on that. So that was the nature of that comment.
All right, thank you. That helps a
Great.
lot.
Trish, you have a question?
Yeah, so my question is, do you think it will hit the ballot in 2026, either June or November, or is that too soon?
No, I think the target's November.
November. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions for John on? Well, I have a question, John. I'm going to do a quick little presentation about some possible trails in Los Osos, and if you have a few minutes to hang out and provide your feedback, that would be great. If you have to go, I understand.
Oh, it's great.
But
Got my pretzels. Good.
all righty. So this is let me pull up my presentation here. This is a very, very rough draft of something I want to present. Let me go to slideshow. Give me a second here. There we go. All right. Let me get rid of these faces. So you got okay. All righty. Oops. I got to start at the beginning. I'm sorry. That would be helpful. There we go. This is from 2022. This is thanks to Jeff Krebs put this together where we talked about connectivity in Los Osos for pedestrians and bikes. And I want you to know that this word connectivity is coming up a lot in the master plan that the Parks and Recreation for the county is doing. That connectivity is going to be a significant portion of that report. So I decided it would be worthwhile going back and looking at what we did back. And I actually did a whole PowerPoint presentation to the Bicycle Advisory Committee back in 2022. And here was the core loop concept. Again, this is was all done by Jeff Krebs. And so the core loop was a trail that would go from Los Osos Valley Road to essentially Sweet Springs, hook up with Pismo, come up Pismo on the dirt path, and then come down 10th Street, which is a bicycle boulevard, and then this would take you into the business district. And I'm just going to go through this quickly because this is all, and so you can see the sections, the different areas of Los Osos that were connected by having this loop, pedestrian bicycle loop. So that was the concept, and it's a great concept. So we decided to, again, I wanted to take another look at it. And here's one of the things that happened in the interim. This is Pismo at 10th Street. And the county allowed you can see this person over here on the left, they built into the road easement because they requested a road vacation, and the county agreed to it. And essentially, this section of the road now is no longer county easement. It's, essentially the property owners can build all the way to this middle line, which obviously you can see this guy on the left-hand side did. He built a fence with a concrete footing, and he was going to build a house there, a little ADU. But unfortunately, um, County Public Works did not do what is requested of them according to our Los Osos community plan. This is 2.31, our community plan for Los Osos, and it specifically says that the any vacation or quiet title actions should go through the Los Osos Community Advisory Council and and should go to let me go back. I'm obviously not very good at doing this, right? Let's go back. There we are. And it should go to the CSD for review. Well, what happened is it didn't go to CSD and it didn't go to LOCAC. We would have said, no, please don't do anything on Pismo. And it turns out that there's a water line that goes underneath where that fence is and where that trailer sits. And the CSD said, well, if there's a problem with this water line, we're going to have to come in and tear up anything that you do. So the guy decided to just put a trailer there for whoever's living there, instead of actually building a house there. So this is a problem. We want to maintain having these open road easements for what I call future trails. And here again is a Los Osos community plan, and it talks about multi-use trails, and it talks about connecting different areas using these roads. So using the community plan as our basis, I thought that we should maybe take a quick look at some of the opportunities we have here. This is Pismo Street. You can see it's very well traveled here. This is Doris at Skyline. You can see this gate here. This is where it would actually go on to Rosina, which is at Monarch Grove Elementary School. I have a picture, I should get it out. Actually have a picture of a parent leading a pony to the school to pick up her daughter, who is attending elementary school at the end of the day. And what a cool way for your kid to get home from school is on her pony. Only in Los Osos, right? Would you see that? And obviously that's something that we kind of cherish here. So again, these are areas that can be considered future roads, future trails for bikes and pedestrians. And then I asked Jeff to take a look at what it would look like if we mapped this out. So the green these are right-of-ways that we would want to maintain as a possible future multi-use trail. So here is the trail that goes down to Sweet Springs, and then here would be the Pismo Trail all the way out. And then here's some other potential trails here. These are all road easements for roads that are not currently paved and will probably never be taken into the county. This one over here, I think, is Skyline. This one is Doris. So it's kind of cool. And my thought was, let me stop share. And I can go back and show you some more of those. Here's my thought. And so I want to get feedback from you guys. And that's why I sent each of you, John, I don't think I sent it to you, but each one of you got an email from me with an attachment of this map for you to take a look at. I would like to take this to the Bicycle Advisory Committee and ask for them to support this. I want to take it to the Parks Commissioners and I want to ask them to support this. And then I want to take it to the County Board of Supervisors, Public Works Department, and I want them to acknowledge this, that these roads will not be vacated uh, where we have them marked as potential future trails. And then we can just avoid this whole problem of people getting the vacation, the quiet title of these roads, and then we're out of luck. We can't build these trails because somebody's ended up encroaching or building onto these roadways. So what do you think of my plan?
So this
I
is
think it's
Jeff
awesome.
again. Oh, sorry. I
Go
still
ahead,
can't
Jeff.
figure out how to raise my hand, and it doesn't. I don't have that um,
You don't have that function?
that selection for some reason. My Zoom is different right now, but I did give you a supplemental one, and it really what didn't have to do with road easement or not to vacate them, but I would keep that supplemental slide with the coastal. Out. Yeah, if it's going to go on the Parks and Recs trail management, and that's what I thought you explained to me, is they're looking to come up with a whole new, you know, plan. We need to have that coastal trail documented on there so that it's, I think,
Right.
help.
Well, yeah, so what Jeff's talking about is the county public Parks and Rec has hired a consultant to do a master plan for the entire county. And and so they're in the process of doing that now. Here's the thing, they did one back in 2016, but then never did anything for Los Osos because nothing ever happened. I mean, it's like you get the plan and then it gets put on a shelf kind of idea. So I want it to be in the master plan if possible, but even if it's not possible, I still want to get Public Works to acknowledge that they should not be vacating any roads without coming to LOCAC first. And then we can take a look and say, oh no, we have a plan for a future trail here. And it's even stronger if we can have Parks and Rec to support that concept. And even stronger still if we can have the Bicycle Advisory or Future Active Transportation Committee to support this. So that's kind of my thinking to sort of get support and make sure that Public Works doesn't give away any more of these roadways. Does that make sense? Go ahead,
Sure.
David.
Yeah. I certainly agree with keeping all of the right of ways until we have a chance to, weigh in on them and see if they fit the plan. I'm a little confused by the plan, just partly because on the legend on the right side, there are some proposed areas, proposed multi-use trails and bike paths, and then on the lower left, there are a different set of proposed things. So are these things that are like in the plan versus things that we're proposing that are beyond the plan?
All right, let me,
So
you're looking at this, the
I'm
one
looking
I
at the one you
sent.
sent around
Yeah.
earlier today. So it has on the legend, it has on the right side, it has these proposed multi-use trails and bike paths.
Yeah, so this is from Parks and Rec. They created that
On the right side, and then
on
what's
the
on the
right
lower
side.
lower left is
Down
our
here is
addition.
what we've added to. We've
Okay,
added to. So all the brown lines, these are paths that county Parks and Rec have established as I mean, that's South Bay Boulevard. You see, they have a
right.
use path going here. And what Jeff is saying is that we need to bring the coastal trail all the way out into MDO, right, Jeff? Is that what you're saying?
Well, when we say all the way out to MDO, it actually goes around by the water, and they demonstrate. It's from their chart.
Right.
It's
So
not
here
us.
you see the brown here, right here, all of this. That's
Yeah,
all county Parks and Rec that created that
yeah.
future trail.
Part of what's not showing is really, what is it, Santa Isabel, and going all the way around the loop to get to South Bay. But
Hmm.
again, I don't want to mix your message if you're really just looking at not relinquishing roads or right of ways. That's not going to relinquish a right of way because it's already an established road. But if you were trying to come up with what's the overall plan, like you said, they're
Hmm.
redoing the whole plan. With that form, I think you're going to want to have, hey guys, just remember you better bring in the California Coastal Trail map and overlay that, whether you have it in your map or not, um, or else it'll get lost.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other just point, just for your reference, the 2016 update has no update since 2006. It is the identical map that was in there in 2006.
You mean the Parks and Rec plan?
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Hmm.
So
sorry.
yeah, they just
Yeah.
restamped it. But they didn't do anything to it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Um,
The
well,
other thing that the other thing that always kind of that draws my attention in these is how the routes are not really connected very well. And I know as a cyclist, it's always annoying, or a hike, or a walker when you're walking and have a trail, and all of a sudden it dumps you off into a place there's no path. And so I mean, it'd be nice if there were some connections. I mean, I guess along Los Osos Valley Road, or even along, Santa Isabel, or something that you could just sort of you connect more of the loops in there.
right. Step one in my mind, and that's why I'm asking for feedback, is to protect these possible connecting trails because there's lots of brown lines here that the county uh, uh, Parks and Rec have said, oh, this could be a trail, this could be a trail. But guess what? If we lose all the easements, there won't be a trail. And that's already happened here on Pismo, right here on Pismo, where we've lost that little section at 10th Street. Fortunately, the other property owner hasn't done anything to take over the rest of the vacation, but they could. There is nothing to stop them. So I want to protect these green areas because to me, they're vulnerable to both encroachment and to vacation. And then we can start prioritizing the trails that we want to concentrate on. There is, just like with the transportation, there are different pockets of money for certain things. So if we can pull together a project that makes sense, we might be able to get a trail funded. So this is just my thinking. You guys think about it yourselves. Take a look at the map, and email me or call me and give me your take on the best way to approach this. But we can talk about it all day long. But if the county doesn't get the message, and if Public Works doesn't follow what's in the Los Osos community plan, which is to check in with the LOCAC before they give away some of this, then we're going to lose our opportunities here.
Hey Deb, I guess my question would be if this is the county's map and it looks to be the county's map, does giving them another map, like they're already not following the first one, right? Because they were supposed to consult with us on the Pismo thing and then didn't. How does sort of reissuing the map, whatever, encourage them not to give these rights away?
Yeah, good question. Some of these trails are on streets. So here on Highland, here, this is, I think, I don't know what that is, South Bay or what. So some of them are paved roads. We don't have to worry about those because they're existing roads. It's only in these areas here where they're unpaved dirt roads, paper roads, if you will, where they're at risk of being given away. Does that make sense? And that's why we highlighted them. I don't know. Did that make sense, Seamus?
Yeah, I think so. Whoops.
Okay.
Let me- yeah, I mean, it looks good. I'm all for protecting the right of way, sort of however we can. Um, I guess um, I, um, I just don't know. I mean, it sort of sounds like they're violating their own policy already. Um, and I guess reminding them of that is useful. So,
Well, I'm going to try to remind them. I did actually have a one-on-one meeting with John Diodati, the head of Public Works, and specifically asked him to come to LOCAC. And, it's a funny thing about Public Works. Planning has a liaison that specifically attends our meetings and interacts with LOCAC. Public Works doesn't have that. And his attitude was, I don't have to do that. Go to planning, talk to planning. And I was like, well, this isn't a planning issue. This is a Public Works issue. So then he said, well, send me a list of the roads and I'll take a look at it, which I'm sure went nowhere. So now what I'm trying to do is build up some more support by going to the parks commissioners and to the bicycle advisory committee and saying, oh, these committees support this concept of preserving these paper roads for potential future trails, and hoping that and reiterating what's in the Los Osos community plan gets us a little more solid footing with Public Works because they pretty much just blew me off. Do I have other questions? I'm going to work on it. I'm going to put it together. We'll probably meet again before I go talk to anybody. So we'll get a chance to take a better look at it. John, I'd love for you to comment.
Yeah, I was just kind of looking at the 2024 community plan update just now, and the trails and pathways exhibit, which your exhibit is looks very similar to it. It's not quite identical to it, but in the legend, it says something like proposed community plan update and then proposed parks and rec plan update. So I kind of think that the community plan is cooked, baked, like it's set, right? And we know why. We know why it had to be set because of all the water stuff. But I think that you might have real opportunity with the parks and rec, um, with
Master
them
plan.
with the master plan being open, um, even par or tantamount to the other avenues or strategies that you're trying. And I know that you try them all too, and do it and throw on the wall, see what sticks. But that one, I think, for what you're trying to do in the core, and with core network, could be, might be something that they bite on. The one segment from the end of Palisades through to, I don't know,
Ramona.
Ramona, that's in both plans. So that exists in the current community plan. And I would also double down on that, and at least you can get kind of one thing going. And then there's all sorts of art, walks that happen in communities like Los Osos and stuff with signs and stuff. Like I don't know. I mean, I'm a fan of wayfinding and signage, and there might be a way to meet some of your goals through signage to start, and then once it gets known as a circuit, um, call it an athletic circuit or whatever, a dog walk circle, or just or however um, you know you want to approach it, but maybe there's a way with signage that and pathway wayfinding that something like even just from the downtown by the dock to to LOVR and the shopping and just say downtown this way. And I know that there are some of those signs out there, but
Right.
there doesn't seem to be a trail or a non-road pathway to connect the two through town. And
Yeah.
so
So,
and you might find that your alignment even around that one property, which is I'm kind of surprised somebody would do that, but but I'm sure that the county did it legally, right? Because otherwise
oh yeah.
they would
Oh
be,
no, it's perfectly
yeah.
legal.
So,
And they
because I
get
mean,
money.
maybe you just go temporarily, like what we're looking at on Bob Jones. You just kind of go do a bypass of some kind. So,
Well, that area is still open, but I wanted to point out, so here's on Pismo Street. This is Portia, my dog, and one of the neighbors put together, let's see if I can make this bigger. I don't know if you can see. Can you guys see that? There's a little mushroom table with little mushroom chairs that somebody put out under the trees, and there's a swing. I think it's on this tree for kids. So it's like a little it's like a little fairy tale play area on Pismo, and it's right at 4th and Pismo. So next time you go on 4th, well, yeah, 4th Street, where it curves, just take a look. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty fun thing. And this guy, he did it all legally. He has to pay the county. The county gets money for letting him take this part of the road, and he took up to his one half. And there's a little sign here on his, and it says, the path is still open. Because people got upset that he
oh,
did
okay.
it, but he did it totally legally. So we just want to make sure that before people start, he could have encroached 10 feet, and it wouldn't have made a difference if we had maintained a center pathway. Do you know what I mean? But he took the whole enchilada on his side. And so that could be a problem. Anyway, working on it. But thank you. I agree. Getting it into the master plan could be really a key. Um, we'll see. We'll see if I can manage that. I haven't heard anything from them. I was on their committee and I had one meeting, and that was, so I don't know what they're doing. Okay, that's my update. Anything else anybody wants to bring up, talk about before we adjourn? Okay, thank you. See you all on Thursday, maybe. If not, I'll see you next month.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you,
Bye.
Deborah. Bye.
Thanks, Deb.